Hey everyone, welcome back to my video series. So I'm back. I'm here, I should say, um, in Videoland, and there's a lot I want to talk about around energy. Now today, I would like to talk about something called entities. Now these would be classed as, in the psychotherapy world, I would see them in alignment with something we would call behaviors. So that maybe could be the segue into learning more about what entities actually are. So, in terms of behaviors, if somebody behaves in a certain way out of the blue, or gets triggered by something, we would call that an entity. Okay, so something has entered their world. They have bought into it. They have been activated in a certain way to behave in a certain way. On another deeper level, that they've chosen that. There would have been a split second where they could have made a different choice. A lot of people aren't aware of how quickly that happens, and they maybe react. And that's another way to explain it in terms of everyday life, is reaction. Okay, so if you are reacting to something, if you see somebody reacting to something, we would call this an entity, yeah? Something has entered your world, taken you out of your peace, and takes you out of your, I suppose, your center, yeah? So if you weren't being activated in that way, you would be in alignment with where you're supposed to be in that particular moment, in that particular day, and you'll probably find that everything works very quickly for you in that type of scenario. If everything lines up beautifully, there should be a direct line between you and where you want to get to, or what you want. So in terms of that, something has entered your world, or somebody else's world, and you're now maybe aware of it. And in that moment, even being aware that something has come into your energy space, you can actively, you can bring yourself back to where you were at, or you can just be aware that that person has gone somewhere else. And this also is very, very valuable in terms of separating the person from the entity. In psychotherapy, we would say separating the person from the behavior. Either way, we get to the same place. Either way, whichever way we look at it, yeah? So in terms of behaviors and that, I'm sure you're aware of a lot of behaviors that are out there, and certain ways of being people have in the world. So you know what I'm talking about in terms of behaviors. We will go a step further and talk about it in terms of entities, because it is now energetic, okay? When you try to cognitively understand what is happening, you actually slow yourself down, which is an entity or a distraction in itself. So if we look at it or feel it or sense it in terms of energy, if we can perceive that energy and we can allow it for a second to enter our world so that we can perceive it and we can look at it and we can maybe observe it for a second, that's all we actually are required to do. Then we can proceed with our day, knowing that we are pushing the blockages out of the way and creating a clean space on which we can travel. Okay, so that's just a little snippet of something to do with entities and something entering your world that is maybe not conducive to your development or progression. So I will continue with this probably tomorrow. Okay, thanks guys, see you later.